Hey everyone, this is Daniela with Intercoastal Realty, and I am here with Andrew Penny, and he is the closing attorney here at Humphries Law, and I brought him to answer some most common questions that today's buyers and sellers have about the closing process. Andrew, thanks for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me.
Andrew, for people who don't know, what does the closing attorney do?
We really, as closing attorneys, do two things, and that is title and escrow. So on the one side, which would really be your practice of law as it applies to real estate, is the title search itself. So in most cases, you're going back over a 30-year period, and you're looking at how the deed transferred, and you're making sure that the person that claims they're selling the property now actually owns the property and can convey it to you. We're going to purchase title insurance for you so that if you have some cloud that comes up later on, it takes care of it. Then we have the other side, which is escrow, which is really that we're the escrow agent. You trust us to take the money from the bank or a cash buyer, whatever it may be, and then distribute those sums of money in the right amounts to the right places to effectuate your closing.
How many closings have you had in your so far career?
Justin and I started working together, I guess, back in May. So I've done a handful over the course of the first couple of months, and then we've opened up a Carolina Beach office where I do all of the closings out of that office.
Andrew, what are you seeing now at the closing table that can tell us more about the market conditions here in Wilmington?
Overarching sentiment of people I talk to at the closing table is that they really wish interest rates would go down and they would have bought their house sooner or bought a different house or whatever it may be. Folks that are buying because the house in the neighborhood that they wanted to be in or their dream house popped up and they're happy to be there.
Are the closings taking longer time than before?
You can close a house in 10 minutes. You can close a house in 10 months. You know that there's no set time in what it takes to close a house. So long as you can do a title search and you can transfer money, you can close a house. Now, as far as delays in closing generally, you're going to see more delays when there's a lender involved. If folks, like most folks, you get a mortgage to buy a house. Your lender really controls the speed at which we can close your house. We can do our side in a timely fashion. We can get a title search done. We can gather all of the documents that a lender needs in order to lend money. We can coordinate with a seller's attorney, the listing agent's attorney, to get seller's docs, or we can do them in-house either way. But that process is usually pretty quick. So really the variable in how long your closing is going to take is going to fall on a lender and how long it takes them to get all their ducks in a row to get the funds distributed to do the closing.
Very cool. Are there any shifts on who is buying today? More first-time buyers, more investors, more out-of-state buyers?
I'm in Carolina Beach, so most of my closings are on the island or in that area. So our demographic there is going to be a little bit different than what it is in Wilmington proper. I would say very few first-time home buyers. Some, and they're really excited to be buying their house, as they should be. It is a shift two ways. One would be that your traditional investor, they're buying a property in the Wilmington area or at the beach or wherever it may be as an income producing property. I think I'm seeing less of those and more of the investor buyer who lives in Raleigh or lives in Charlotte. And they're looking at their house in the Wilmington area or Carolina Beach or Rice Beach, wherever it is, as their retirement home. As far as other buyers, especially on the beach, a ton, you say cash or out of state, a lot of times they're the same. The out of state buyer is the cash buyer. They've sold their house in an area that has housing prices that are above what ours are, and so they can sell their home in Connecticut or Massachusetts or wherever it may be, and then take those funds and pay cash for their house here.
Walk me through what happens in those last 48 hours before closing.
Cash closing, not a lot. You're getting numbers right on the HUD. You're getting that circulated. It's going to be signed by the settlement agent. It's going to be signed by the buyers and sellers. We're going to make sure that that's correct, and we're going to get ready to escrow money when it records. I would say read your closing disclosure when you get it. So a closing disclosure is sent out to everybody who's going to close on a house when you have a lender. And it's going to go through some fairly important things, like the amount that you're borrowing and what your payment's going to be and how much your taxes and insurance are a month and whether they're going to be escrowed. Important things for realtors. It's
of course.
It shows what your commissions are going to be.
What's the number one mistake that you see first-time buyers make?
I'm going to give you three.
Oh.
One would be to hire an experienced realtor so that you have somebody advocating for you a little bit, organizing things to get it to us. And then 2 and 3 go hand in hand. And one is get a survey of your property. It's something that hardly anyone does before a closing, but it'll save you a lot of problems later on when you move into your house and you realize that your fence is on the neighbor's property or the neighbor's fence is on your property. The other would be to read the restrictive covenants of your neighborhood if you're moving into an area with an HOA. And you may have grand plans to put an accessory dwelling unit at your home and it's barred by your HOA. You may be buying a true investment property and short-term rentals are banned by your HOA.
What about financially? What do people do that messes everything up right before the closing?
When you apply for a loan, you make a bunch of representations to the bank as to what your financial status is. You may have, a car payment and a housing payment at the time, whatever it may be. Don't apply for credit to buy your home. Go through that process and then go take out a subsequent loan before closing on your actual home loan. A lot of the time, the lender will run your credit again right at the end and see that you've taken out a new credit card and put money on it, or bought a new vehicle or a boat or another house somewhere else. And that can put you in a tough spot where your loan ends up not closing. Wire fraud's everywhere. It's really bad right now. It usually comes in the form of a phishing attack through email. This is probably the thing you can take away from it, is if somebody sends you an email message and the wire instructions are typed into it, never send money to that. Over the phone, safer. Most every closing attorney or escrow agent is going to have some system in place, a protocol for wires. We send ours out via encrypted message of how to get money to us. And then when we're sending money out, we use a program called Certified, which allows people to verify who they actually are and what their wire instructions actually are before any money goes out. They're monitoring your email. They've gotten access to your email, and you have email chat or exchanges going back and forth with your agent. You probably even have a contract that goes back and forth, an offer to purchase that you may DocuSign, and it's going to have your closing date on there. And then if that closing date changes, you're probably going to get an email from an attorney or a real estate agent notifying you of the change in your closing date. And the person that has access to your email that's tracking that conversation, they're going to know about when those wire instructions need to come.
Yeah.
And they're going to create an email account that's very similar to my email or Justin's email or some other attorney's email. And they're going to send you an email with wire instructions of please send your $500,000 for your house to here. And you send it and it's not to one of us and there's no way of getting the money back.
Andrew, on the flip side, what causes the most delays, most problems on a seller side?
Typically communication, a breakdown of communication. Can't get a hold of a seller, can't get a hold of a seller's agent.
Are there any title issues? Something that pops up that surprises a seller?
Sure. I think probably the most common title issue that we see pop up is a pending lien on the property. Outstanding liens, you see those, or judgment liens, IRS liens, something of that nature.
Is there any payoff surprises? The seller's not realizing what they're supposed to pay at the closing?
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of sellers don't realize that the agent's commissions come out of what they're getting back. It's in the contract.
Andrew, what is the craziest, most memorable closing that you ever had?
Some examples of weird things that happened. I've had a couple recently. I've had people get cold feet in the middle of a closing and get up and then leave and not close on the property that they were scheduled to close that day. I had one the other day where an individual tried to renegotiate their agent's commission, at
At the closing table.
At closing, right before it started, right before, I feel like they thought they had some sort of leverage over their agent and tried to renegotiate.
Can you tell in first 5 minutes if the closing is going to be a smooth ride or a complete disaster?
Probably tell quicker than that. People are different. Some people like to read every word in a closing package.
Yeah.
And that's great. And if that's what you want to do, you should absolutely do that.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. Some people have a ton of questions about whatever it may be. And some people walk in and they don't want you to talk to them at all. And they just want you to slide the paper across. So, Andrew, I'm tired of you talking to me. Just show me where I need to sign. I've got things to do. I don't want to sit here with you. And you can usually tell if within 2 minutes of them being asked for their ID that they don't want to turn their ID over, that you're going to have some issue in that closing. Whether that be they're just a person who doesn't trust other people, which is fine. And they don't trust the bank that created that lending package that we're having them execute. So they have a ton of questions about that. Or in some cases, like I know we've had here before, there was somebody that was posing to be somebody else.
Ooh.
And showing their ID would show that they weren't that person.
What is the most emotional closing that you have ever witnessed?
I had one a couple of weeks ago, and it was a first-time home buyer, and they were incredibly excited to the point of tears of closing on their first home, and that's awesome to see.
Now, this is personal. Do you drink a lot of coffee?
Shoot, my coffee consumption on any day is drink it till I start shaking, and then I feel like I've had enough. But yeah, a lot.
Thank you, Andrew. But before we wrap up, how can a client contact you here at Humphries Firm?
Yeah, sure thing. We're all over the place. We're really easy to find. We have a website. You can visit us there. It'll point you in the right direction.
Very cool. Yep. Thank you so much.
Thank you.